be intimidating to think about planning a family meeting to discuss things like estate planning, your medical needs, co-parenting, or even business succession. Those conversations are incredibly important. I was able to meet with Kansas State Research and Extension's retired family systems extension specialist to discuss some strategies that can help you plan an effective family meeting.
We talk about family meetings.
Right.
Family meetings can be very productive, but they can also be disastrous.
Yeah. So, I think we hear horror stories, and sadly I think movies and television and society promote more of the fear of the disasters rather than all the success stories out there.
I'm glad you brought up the word fear, because fear is embedded in so many of our interactions. Fear of losing something, relationships, money, resources, time, whatever.
Right.
But I think back to some key things for successful family meetings. First of all, what is or are the issues that need to be discussed? So that will determine who needs to be at the table, and the invitations that need to be made, not leaving somebody out just because they're difficult to get along. Well, they sabotage if they're left outside the decision-making family meeting. Well, then they sabotage. So having those invitations, sometimes families have found bringing in a facilitator.
Okay.
A third party that does not have the emotional investment, that can, and is a skilled facilitator and can lead the family through a discussion.
So that facilitator, just really helps connect the dots. It helps repeat, when we talk about listening, it's all about making sure that you understand and confirm that understanding. And a lot of times that's what the facilitator does.
That's right.
It's just to make sure everyone has a chance to be heard.
That's right.
And that everyone understands.
That's right.
And then also I think of when we're faced with these family meeting things, it's like, well, we're a family, but when I think of meeting, I think of business and I think of work, but really a lot of the strategies for successful businesses can be used for families.
Absolutely.
It might not be as rigid as
in
the workplace, but if you have an end goal of a situation, you can have an agenda.
That's right. And you say the word agenda, that there is agenda, and that all those who are going to be part of the meeting have an opportunity to help create that agenda, that there's no surprises. Persons, and particularly when things are tense, persons don't want to be surprised.
Yeah.
They want to know what to expect in this meeting and so forth. So having an agenda that everybody's agreed upon and go forth from there. And if, like I said, if a family can't do it on their own, bringing in a facilitator.
If you know what to expect, you're less likely to just have a spur of the moment emotional outbreak. You're going to maybe be able to do some research and be able to think about what can I bring to the table, and you'll be more productive if this is when we're going to meet, and this is what we need to accomplish.
You brought up a point of where are we going to meet? That needs to be really thought about too. If there's a lot of tension and power discrepancy, or power polls, if meeting at one person's place is perceived by the other as they have more advantage by that, go to a neutral place. And it could be a meeting room at a restaurant or something where everybody feels they're on the same ground, same territory.
That way everyone has the same places they can
go
find security, also everyone's there in a comfortable state, and everyone's at the same level when you're having difficult conversations.
And then one thing that can come into play with difficult family communications are taking a time out. Now we think, well, that's a child thing, but adults can do that with each other too, because if you don't pay attention to the dynamics, they're going to spin. And it's going to go round and round and round, and if the emotions get more heated, it's going to spin out of control. And then you've lost it. The whole family's lost it. and suggesting a timeout where everybody can take time to cool down. And another thing on a timeout is always agreeing on a time and place to come back together to
Now,
talk
why is
about
that
it.
important?
Because it's probably won't happen.
Okay. So if you don't, like as adults, if we do not hold ourselves accountable for
That's
a time and a place to finish that conversation with
that the issue will still be there, but we haven't made any mini steps in focusing on that issue. If we all leave and say we're taking a time out, but we don't agree, it might not be in half an hour, it might be the next day, you know, but just having agreement among yourselves, we'll come back and talk about this issue again. And you might want to get into the problem-solving model where by the time the meeting's over, everybody needs to know what needs to be done by individual persons, and then when are we going to get back together to check this out and whether it's worked well. And I'm thinking about, an older parent and options and so forth, and just do we need to begin investigating different things and then coming back together. So that's a real problem-solving model of not leaving unless we know what we're going to do next.
Right. And even if you're going through a divorce, there's excellent problem-solving models that you can follow to establish a co-parenting strategy or whatnot. And I think, thinking about all the stakeholders involved in estate planning to co-parent planning or even planning your medical plans and transitions. So I think these conversations are things that we can't avoid. They're part of life. But if we focus on positive communication, remembering that we have a commitment, that our family is important to us, and being happy, having a high quality of life is important for us.
And there's going to be times where you do have to bring in a third person expertise, the accountant, depending on the situation. But getting the family starting and communicating together is so important.
Yeah, and knowing your limitations, knowing when you need to bring that mediator in, and it doesn't always have to cost money to bring those people in. There's lots of community resources out there throughout the state of Kansas and north central Kansas that we can rely on, whether it's agriculturally focused or financially focused, business focused, or even parenting focused. It's ask a school teacher, ask pastor, ask your extension agent. There's lots of people that you could rely on to help you facilitate these difficult conversations. So great. Thanks for sharing your insight about that, Charlotte.
This has been fun.
For additional assistance or to talk about your family's unique situation and your own family meeting needs, you can contact me, your Family and Youth Development Extension Agent with Kansas State Research and Extension's Post Rock District.